Good morning, everybody. Okay, we're going to focus today on Unit 1, Genius, Nurture, or Nature, and we're going to do our focus on reading 1 today. So we're looking at our reading and writing book. Okay, cool. Let's start with reading 1, A Genius Explains. So the first thing is the vocabulary. Always knowing the vocabulary for this part of the book or this part of the unit. And in this case, we're focusing on interaction, flexible, compensate, disabled, savants, estimates, retain, benefits, predictable, anxious, image, and sum. Okay, so looking at those words in the context of a text, what would they mean? You can use the context in order to understand the words. So basically all the words, let me show that. All the information that comes before the particular bold-faced word and the information that comes after the bold-faced word can help you to understand what the bold-faced word means. So this is basically taking understanding from context. Now, after that, you were supposed to do activity 2. So we're going to go over that. How do we use using the correct word in order to complete the sentence? Now, in this case, you're also using the context of the sentence to figure out which one is the correct word. Okay, there's only one word that goes into the blank. Does anyone want to respond to number 1?
Me.
Okay, go.
No one is sure of the exact number of autistic savants there are in the world, but experts estimate that there are fewer than 100.
Awesome. Estimate, that's correct. Well said. Okay, let me see. And then we go to number 2. Who'd like to try number 2? Other than Megan? No? Studies indicate that one hemisphere of a savant's brain may, who knows that one?
Compensate.
Compensate, yeah, cool. Compensate for damage to the other hemisphere. Number 3, who would like to try number 3? I still have my wheel of fortune and can just spin my wheel and know who's going to answer. It's amazing how much information a small USB drive can retain. Awesome, thank you. Okay, that brings us to number 4. I'd like Aldi to answer number 4. Can you read the sentence?
Yeah, miss. Number 4.
Yeah.
Children may feel anxious.
Yeah, continue.
About their first day in a new school because they don't know what to expect.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, number 5, I'm going to ask Nicholas William.
For me, it is hard. It is very hard to change my plan because I am not very flexible.
Yeah, correct. Number 6. Is Vincent Dickey here? Dickey, Vincent? No? Okay, Michelle, Angelina.
Flexible.
Yeah. Number 7, right? Can you read the whole sentence?
Number?
Hey, wait. 5. Yeah. Flexible. Can you read the whole sentence? Sorry, number 5.
For
Miss,
me, it's
isn't it
very hard.
number 6?
Yeah, we are with the wrong number, but she answered correctly for 5. Can you just read the sentence?
Although 7 have amazing abilities to
Oh.
knowledge in other area of their lives, they may appear to be disabled.
Yeah, 6 is disabled, 5 is flexible. What is 4? 4 is anxious. Yes. So 4 anxious, 5 flexible, 6 disabled. What about number 7? What about Jovita?
Number 7, yes.
Yes.
Because I know him so well, Sam's reaction to my suggestion was very predictable.
Awesome. That's correct. Number 8, we continue. Nicole.
It is sometimes hard for people who are shy to engage in social interaction, especially with people they don't know well.
Yeah, interaction. Cool. Yeah, good. Number 9, Serafim.
Finding the sum of 20 apa nih?
Times 20 times
Times
3.
in your head is not difficult.
Yeah, sum. Very good. Adisha, Elora,
Yes, Miss.
can you do number 10?
Yes. Wait. The 7 can exhibit amazing mental powers and is able to memorize huge amounts of information.
Yeah, good. Number 11. Ketut Yoni. Yoni, can you do number 11?
Yes, Miss. One benefit of my job of my new job is health insurance, and another is 2 weeks of paid vacation.
Yep. 12. I'd like to ask Evayanti.
Even though Daniel had not been to Paris in many years, he still had a clear image in his mind of what his hotel looked like.
Okay, if we so look at these words, are there still any questions about the meaning? No? Okay, if it is hard for you to remember, maybe you can write Bahasa Indonesia, above it so you can remember. Real quick for today's Ketua class, don't forget to update me on who was absent and who was late into class today. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the next activity, previewing. Remember, previewing is a skill, the first skill, the reading skill or strategy that we use before we start reading. Very important. We use previewing to predict the text type and the purpose of the text. And we do that by looking at the title and subheadings if there are, and the visuals. Now, everything we do from previewing to skimming to scanning, reading questions, it doesn't matter what we do, we will always annotate. And annotating is that you look at a keyword and an underline, circle, or highlight. Now, if you look at a Genius Explains, the keywords are Genius and Explains, right? What type of text is this, people? What type of text is this? Can anybody tell me that?
Biography.
Yeah, it's a biography. And why is it a biography?
Because it talks about one person, like
Yeah.
a person.
Why is it not an autobiography?
Because it is written by another people.
Awesome, yeah. Very well answered. Because it is written by Richard Johnson, and Richard Johnson writes about Daniel Tammet. So it is an autobiography when the person writes about him or herself, right? Cool. Okay, so basically the text type is still an article. Most articles have headings, but This one doesn't. But it is an article, but it is also a biography because it writes about someone's life. Very well said. Now, in order to build a good focus for your reading before you jump into the text, you were supposed to tick 3 things about Daniel that you think you will read in the story. Can someone tell me what you ticked? Or can I ask Ferin, Aurelia, to tell me what you ticked? What about Evelyn? Christy?
Yes, Miss.
What did you tick?
He can't drive car, and
Okay.
then he loves going to the beach, and he has invented his own language.
Okay, cool. Yeah, what you ticked off was what you predicted, right? By looking at this, well, if you see a genius explains, then you probably think that he knows a lot of things, but even geniuses don't know everything, right? Okay, cool. Now, ever having read the story and listened to it, you were supposed to see how your predictions at the beginning were helpful and whether they helped you to understand the article better. Okay, an article definitely is to inform. Also, with a biography, it is to inform someone about someone's life, right? Okay, we continue with activity 2. Now, what you have to do here is you would have to create subheadings. Now, normally, as I said just now, normally paragraphs have subheadings. Those are the tinier titles. So the main title would cover the whole text, and the subtitles would cover maybe 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs. Now, what I want to review today is this: is that a main idea. If we're looking at main ideas, we can actually categorize that in a big or a general main idea and in sub main ideas. Now, for example, if we're talking about a general main idea, that refers back also to the title. And the general main idea is basically stated in the thesis statement, which is the last sentence in the introductory paragraph. Yeah, so the thesis statement is mostly in the last sentence in the introductory paragraph, which mentions the general topic and the purpose. So we could say that a general main idea equals a general topic and purpose is the thesis statement. So thesis statement equals general main idea equals general topic and purpose. Now, if we're talking about sub main ideas, the smaller main ideas, those can be reflected in the subheadings or in the paragraph headers, however you want to call it. But they can also be reflected through the topic sentence. For example, if your article has headers, then that definitely reflects a sub main idea that is about 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs. But if, for example, you have no headers, definitely also the topic sentence reflects a sub main idea over the paragraph, because a topic sentence holds the subtopic and the purpose for that particular paragraph. So a topic sentence equals subheading equals subtopic and purpose, and a subheading can also be a sub main idea, but a header, a paragraph header, are also called a subheading. Those are also sub main ideas, but they will cover like 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs, whereas a topic sentence is a sub main idea which really covers the subtopic and purpose for that only one paragraph. Okay, make sure that is clear. So you were supposed to come up with the correct paragraph header or subheading, subtitle, whatever you want to call it, for paragraphs 1 and 2. So these were like 2 paragraphs put together: paragraph 4 and 5, 7 and 8, and 10 and 11. 14 and 15, 16 and 17. So you had to come up with which either A, B, or C is the best heading to use to combine both the paragraphs, meaning that the heading that you chose should cover the general idea of both paragraphs, not either one, but both. Okay, who would like to respond to number 1? Which is a correct heading or header for paragraphs 1 and 2? Ferro, would you want to answer that?
Yeah, miss.
What is number 1?
A.
How did you, okay, you got to A. Actually, the answer is B. Daniel Tammet's ability and disability. You mentioned A, that is only focused on that he's a mathematical genius. That you definitely see in number 1. Yeah. But basically what the better would be is his abilities and his disabilities. Let me make a cross check real quick. Yeah, B, his abilities and disabilities. So not only him, that he is not, because if you say mathematical genius, then it would only talk about that he is a genius, but this one refers to abilities and disabilities. What about number 2 for paragraphs 4 and 5? What would be the better heading? Anyone? Number 2's better heading for paragraphs 4 and 5 is C, not the typical savant. It's okay if you make a mistake, yeah, you're not graded and nothing to be shy about, yeah. We're just trying this one out. So for paragraphs 4 and 5 would be C. Farrell, did you have that too? Or did you have something else?
A, miss.
Oh, you chose A for number 2?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your honest answer. Yeah, the answer is C, not the typical savant. Maybe what you need to look at when you're choosing a correct heading or header is that you really must make sure that your header is like a main idea covering both paragraphs. So you can't only cover one. So you really got to know and got to see that it really covers, generally speaking, the material in both.
Famous.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically, if you can see also in the first paragraph, in the last sentence, he lives with extraordinary abilities and disabilities. And then if you look at paragraph 4, in the last sentence, it says, typically, savants have a limited vocabulary, but there is nothing limited about Tammet's vocabulary. So that kind of gives it away. But it must cover both paragraphs. Number 3, for paragraph 7 and 8, anyone who'd like to answer?
Me?
Yeah.
I choose Daniel's day routine. C.
Okay. It is A though. Yeah, it's A. It's everyday life can be difficult.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no problem. Now, if you look at this one covers 7 and 8 though. How did you get to C? Because basically, if you look at paragraph 8, it says Temmet has never been able to work 9 to 5. But if we're looking at paragraph 7, it doesn't really talk about a daily routine. So daily routine doesn't really fit it because that would be talking about what he does on a regular basis in a routine.
Yeah.
I talk here about more about the difficulties. Like in 7, he talks about if he has to go to the beach because he has to count all the pebbles, and that is a difficulty. So it's more into that.
I'm wrong.
That's no problem. But the point today is that you see that a heading, a subheading is kind of like a main idea, and it's got to cover the paragraph. So if this is focusing on 7 and 8, your heading should be covering both paragraphs, not either one. What
Okay.
about, yeah, cool. What about the next one, number 4? Who'd like to try? Paragraphs 10 and 11?
Me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's B.
10 and 11 is C. Daniel and Kim Peak connect. Yeah, I think if it is love of books, it's too specific. The love of books is a very specific thing. It is definitely mentioned in paragraph 11, where it clearly says, I love books so much. Yeah. But this one has to cover paragraphs 10 and 11. And if we look at 10, it talks about documentary of life, broadcasting, talks about the Rain Man. It talks a lot more than only books. So the answer would be that Daniel and Kim Peak connect in many ways. That is more general, because if you would point out love of books would be too specific for one paragraph only. Okay, remember that your heading should be general. What about 5 for paragraphs 14 and 15? Anyone want to try? Number 5 is B. Daniel's math skills emerge. Coba check your answers. Not that he starts counting or numbers as images, but that his math skills emerge. And number 6, for paragraph 16 and 17, the answer is B. Daniel's shyness. It's not his love of singing or his problems in school, but it refers more to how shy he is. So the conclusion of this is that you've got to remember that when you use a header or you choose a subheading for either 2 or 3 paragraphs, think of it that as if your heading is like a small main idea, meaning that it is garis besarnya dari 2 atau 3 paragraf. So it cannot be focusing on one point in specific or in either one paragraph, but what it states must cover all 3, meaning that it is a very general statement. Because if it's specific, cannot, because then it would be too long. You can't mention the specifics of 2 or 3 paragraphs, right? So it's a really general idea. Any questions? No? Okay, cool. Then we continue with the next one, which is details. We have to listen for details. Now, basically, the first reading skill we did was talked about was previewing, right? Predicting the text type and the purpose by looking at the title, headings, and visuals. And the second is skimming. And skimming we do to get the main idea of the text, the garis besar, the general idea. And for that, we skim, we read the first paragraph, every topic sentence, every first sentence of every body paragraph, right? And the concluding paragraph. And the last one is scanning. You guys learned this already last year. Scanning is where you're not really reading, but you're just looking over the text, going over it. You're basically just looking for a keyword, a key phrase, locating where it is in order to know where to read very attentively. So just go over the text, and because you have already underlined or circled the question and answer choices, and you're going to go over the text to find a particular keyword or key phrase. And then when you found that, you know, okay, that paragraph you have to read. So you read the text before that keyword and the text after. So basically one paragraph to get the context and know what the answer is. You got to be careful though, because they use a lot of synonyms. So that you might not find the exact same keyword or key phrase, but one that is a synonym, a different word with the same meaning. Now here, we're looking at details and we want to know how they can be categorized. So either under the category of math, language, memory, social interaction, or need for order. Now, let's look at the first one. Daniel feels uncomfortable in the supermarket. What category would that be? Anyone?
Which one? Daniel feels uncomfortable in the supermarket.
Yeah.
I put it in the social interaction.
Yes, exactly.
It's
That is,
a disability.
yeah, that's a disability, exactly. What about Daniel can recall pi to 22,514 decimal points? Who can tell me what category is that?
Math.
Yeah. Oh, we love math. Yeah, you should love it. It's good. Makes you smart. Okay, math. Yeah. And is that an ability or disability? Look at the word can.
Ability.
Ability. Okay, someone else. Daniel must drink his tea at exactly the same time every day. Thank you, Megan. I want someone else right now. Who can answer this one? What category?
Need for order.
Yes, order. Yeah, need for order. Awesome. And can you also tell me whether that is an ability or disability?
I don't know, Miss.
A disability means that if he doesn't do it that way, he can't do it. He must drink his tea in exactly the same time every day. So if he doesn't drink it at the same time, he can't do it. So that is referring to disability. So it is hard, thank you. It is hard for Daniel to socialize with anyone outside his family. What category is that? Yes, Yovita?
Social inter.
Okay,
Social interaction.
yeah, social interaction ability or disability?
Disability.
Disability, yeah. What about this one? Daniel is able to read a lot of books. What category is that?
Language.
Language, ability or disability?
Ability.
Yeah, he is able to. Daniel has trouble making eye contact. What category is that? Aldi?
Social interaction.
Oh, sorry, Aldi. Adisha. Social interaction. Okay, can you also tell me whether that is an ability or a disability?
Disability.
Disability. Okay, Aldi, can you do this one? Daniel can multiply 377 times 795 in his head.
Math.
And ability or disability?
Ability.
Ability, therefore he uses the word can. Thank you. Daniel doesn't go to the beach because there are too many pebbles to count. What category is that? Anyone? Anyone wants to try? Yofita?
It's need for order.
Yes, need for order, exactly. Is that an ability or a disability?
It's disability.
Disability, because if he goes, then it is hard for him. Daniel, thank you. Daniel always has to brush his teeth before he showers. Come on, guys. What is that? What category is that? Someone else? Aldi?
Need for order.
Ability or disability?
Huh? Apa man? Semua orang gitu, Miss.
Well, no, it says here he has to.
Oh, disability.
Disability means if he doesn't do it, he can't handle. He can't shower. So yeah, that's a disability in the sense that he has to do it in a certain way. Not doing it that way, he can shower. Whereas maybe us, we can also shower, right? So before we brush our teeth, do the other way around. Thank you. The thought of a mathematical problem with no solution makes Daniel uncomfortable. Who can answer that?
Math.
Math, is that an ability or disability?
Disability.
Disability. Daniel can easily remember key dates in history. Thank you. What about this one?
Memory.
Yes.
Memory.
Yes, Emily or Emily. What? What the heck is that? The weirdest words pop up in my head. Is that yeah? So memory. I wanted to say memory and an ability or disability, and it became Emery or whatever. Okay, what is this?
Ability.
Yeah, because he uses the word can. What about Daniel speaks 7 languages? Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's an ability in the language.
Yes, exactly. Hey, how many languages do you guys speak? You cannot mention Japanese and Balinese and no. That's not fair. You come up with like 5 or so.
Okay. 2.
2. Okay. Okay, cool. Anyone who speaks 3 languages? No? Okay. Well, guys can still learn. Maybe you can add, maybe you can make your Mandarin better.
Oh
Mandarin.
man, no.
Do Japanese? That would be cool.
Yeah.
Mandarin is also a good one to learn. Okay, we continue with making inferences. So assumptions, understanding assumptions. Now, this is something, people. Assumptions are mostly based on something that we see, either a fact or a happening, an event, something or an action towards which we react. So, for instance, if let's say um, one of you, you are always on time in every class. You're on time. You always do your homework on time. You're very diligent, and suddenly you didn't give your homework or you came late to class, and I can assume that really something serious is coming up based on the fact that you're always on time. So I assume that something happened with you. Or for example, you always doing everything on time can make me assume that you're just a very diligent student. But I don't know, maybe you are forced to do everything on time. But I can just assume that you're just this very responsible, diligent student, whereas maybe it is your sibling or your friend or maybe your parent who motivates you to do things on time. So assumptions are based on things that we see are happening. Our assumptions, though, are not always right. Our assumptions can be correct, but can also be wrong since it's just an assumption. And that's why it's very important that we always check whether our assumptions are correct by communicating or either asking. Yeah? Okay, an inference is an educated guess about something that is not directly stated. Okay, in this text that Genius explains, there are quotes from Daniel Tammet and also from Kim Peek that show what others might assume about the 2 men's disability. So these 2 men have a disability. And there are a lot of people who assume things. Like, for example, if you're disabled, a lot of people would assume that you're kind of disabled in every area of your life, whereas actually you're only disabled in that one particular area, right? But there are a lot of wrong assumptions. So, for example, here it says, I just wanted to show people that disability need not get in the way. Even though I'm disabled, I can still do things. Now, people might assume and think that someone with a disability cannot do as much as someone without a disability. Well, you have a disability, but you probably cannot do as much as I do. But that assumption could be wrong. Yeah. So assuming or assumptions are very biased in the way that you can't prove yet that you're right. So what is important is that you always cross-check whether your assumption is correct. Now, many of us, we kind of act upon our assumptions. So we assume something to be. So for example, well, Miss Sylvie is probably going to be late for class today. So you have an assumption. And based on that assumption, you guys go like, you know what? Let's just hang a little bit longer in the cafeteria because she's probably going to be late to class anyways. So then you're acting upon your assumption, whereas you don't know whether I'm going to be late or not. And it ends up, you come to class, I was already in class, and I say to you, hey, why are you guys late in class? You say, well, I thought you were going to be late. So then in this example, you made a decision and acted according to your assumption, whereas you didn't know whether your assumption was right. Okay, so that we call bias, that is very opinionated, based on an opinion, is not objective and not factual and not proven. So it's therefore very important that you always cross-check. Now, I'd like to know whether you got the assumptions that were made over Daniel and Kim, but you have to go back to the paragraph to see the assumption. You cannot just get the assumption by reading this one sentence or this one quote. No, you had to really go back to the paragraph to grasp the assumption. Any questions? Okay, let's try number 1. Daniel, in paragraph 18, it was also the first time I was introduced as Daniel rather than the guy who can do weird stuff in his head. The guy that does weird stuff in his head. What do you think others, what do you think other people assumed? Others did not think that Daniel was what? What was their assumption? Can anyone answer? Vero?
Saya belum kerjain yang ini, Miss.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Anyone else? Others did not think that Daniel was a normal person. So their assumption would have been they thought that he was weird, odd. So they just assumed that he was not normal. Yeah, that is an assumption. And is that assumption true? No, he is a normal person. He just has a disability, but he's still a normal person just like you and me. What about number 2? Kim, paragraph 11, you don't have to be handicapped to be different. Everybody is different, whether they're handicapped or not handicapped. Even the people that are not handicapped are still different as well. Now, that is what Kim stated. But if you look at paragraph 11, what assumption can you see here? Who wants to try? Okay, let me ask Michelle and Angelina. Michelle, Angelina, can you answer? No? Okay, then I'm gonna ask Michaela Grace.
I haven't answered it.
Okay, try. Would you know, or is it is that still difficult? So Kim is saying that, well, whether you're handicapped or not, we're all different people anyways. Other people think the opposite. So what is it that other people think?
Others think that we have to be handicapped to be different.
Exactly, good. Yeah, it's just the opposite of it. Well done. Yeah, others think that, well, when you're handicapped and you're different, you have to be handicapped to be different. Whereas actually, that is not the case, because even if you and I, we're not handicapped, but we're different people as well, right? Okay, number 3, paragraph 19. It sounds silly, but numbers are my friends. Daniel says, numbers are my friends. Other people, probably the opposite, would think that numbers are just what?
They're enemies.
Yeah, they're just numbers, right? How can numbers be friends? Right? They're not alive. Okay. What about number 4, Daniel, paragraph 19? It is not only an intellectual or aloof thing that I do. I really feel that there is an emotional attachment, a caring for numbers. That goes really deep though, yeah? Well, other people probably assume that Daniel's relationships to numbers is? What do you think?
I write here like, or just something unimportant.
Unimportant. People will probably even, come on, if I would say to you, for example, oh, I feel an emotional attachment with numbers, what do you think of me?
Weirdo.
Yeah, you would assume that I'm weird. So that is also what people thought. They assumed that the relationship that Daniel has with numbers is kind of weird, right? It's strange.
Yeah.
That would be the assumption, but to him it is not strange. To him it is very real. Now, Daniel, paragraph 8, I like to do things in my own time and in my own style. So an office with a target or with targets and bureaucracy will not work for me. So he doesn't like rules, regulations, and that you have to follow a certain pattern. Other people might expect Daniel to be able to follow. So basically the assumption is the opposite. As he says, I cannot follow all that. Other people would expect Daniel to follow all the rules and regulations, right? But he can't. Now, so the answer is other people might expect Daniel to be able to follow a schedule. Now, what is important from this part is that you understand that assumptions always are based on something that someone has said or done, or based on something that has happened. But you also need to know that assumptions are mostly biased and are not necessarily correct. You therefore always have to cross-check whether your assumption is a correct one or not, and never ever just act or respond in an action or in talking according to your assumption, okay? That can create trouble. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay, we don't go to expressing opinions, the part where we reason. We look at the 5 W's and H. What is it going on? Why is it going on that way? How did that happen? Why not this way? Why not that way? Just thinking about it, coming up with an opinion, a viewpoint, and having reasons for that opinion, and expressing the opinion, expressing it with reasons, and maybe even showing what it results into or how it affects people or what effect it might have on you, on the life around you. Okay, let's look at number 1. Which of Daniel's abilities would be most useful to you? He has a lot of abilities. Now, which one would be most useful to you, and how would having this ability change your life? Who would like to respond? Okay, I'm gonna pick someone, yeah? And I'm gonna go for Daniela Brillanti. Lilia. You're called Lily, right? Or Daniela? Can you answer, please?
Yes, miss.
Can you do number 1? How would you respond to number 1? Which of Daniel's abilities would be most useful to you? None? Can you answer that, or is that a bit difficult? Okay, let me ask Putri. Bulan, can you help Daniela out? Can you tell me what you think about number 1?
My opinion?
Yeah.
My opinion is maybe speaking with a language, a lot language.
Right. And how would that change your life if you were able to speak like 7 languages?
Maybe I can connect with other country and I can speak, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you would be able to speak to with a whole lot of people from different backgrounds, definitely. And maybe also that could help you in finding a job, like future possibilities. Speaking multiple languages, I think, is always a benefit, yeah? What about number 2? Thank you very much, Wulan. William James, the American psychologist and philosopher, 1842 up till 1910, said, genius means nothing more than the faculty of perceiving in an unhabitual way. How does this quotation apply to Daniel Tammet? I'm gonna ask Florencia. Can you answer this one? What do you think?
Yes, me.
Yeah, what about number 2? What do you think? Basic says that people that are geniuses are very smart. They just perceive things, they understand things or get things in a very unusual way. Normally, what is normal, and he gets it differently. So what do you think? Is that true for Daniel Tammet? What do you think? Do you think that Daniel Tammet gets things or understands things in a different way from other people?
Can you hear me? Because I was having trouble with my Wi-Fi.
Oh, no. So could you repeat your answer one more time?
Okay, wait. Daniel Tammet lived an unhabitual way. So habit is different than other people.
Yes, he definitely has a different habit from other people. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so basically geniuses do things in a different way, which is not as ordinary as other people would do it. And that should be okay, right? I think there is a lot of assumptions and judgments. In assumption, there's a lot of judgment as well. Whereas actually, it is very important for us to be able to accept one another. And if we're different, that's totally fine, right? It's okay to be different. Is there anyone else who would like to respond? Or ask a question, maybe? No? All good so far? Maybe someone else who has another idea on what we discussed just now? No? Okay, then we go back. Okay, there's another thing that brings us to the end of reading 1, but I'd like you to look at our Unit 1 schedule for a moment right now. There's several of you who were confused, like, Miss Sylvia, I'm confused. I don't know what to do this week. I don't know what my focus is. I already updated your Unit 1 schedule. So as you can see here, what is important is that you always pay attention to the date. So it's always the week off. So from the Monday to the Friday. So as you can see here, the 3rd of August until the 7th of August is Monday to Friday. Now, that shows that in this week for the Zoom meeting is in the middle, we will do reading 1, what we just did. And your focus this week should be on step 3, researching for your essay. Yeah, the essay that you will write in your journals. You got to do research for your essay. And also this week, for your post-study, you will have to do the activities and section reading 1 of your ebook for reading and writing, R&W. And then for your pre-study, you will watch video listening to, which I will upload after this, and do the activities in your textbook for listening and speaking. Okay, so you basically just look at the schedule at the week that you're in, and then you look at what your pre-study is. Pre-study is always your textbook with a video. Yeah, and those videos are always uploaded in YouTube Media Tunas Daud. Yeah, you can go to the playlist SMA and find it there. But I also always give you a link to our WhatsApp group. So your pre-study is always the video of the material with the textbook and you doing the activities in the textbook. Then the study time is through our Zoom. That's where we go over and review the textbook. And then the post-study is always the ebook. So you have pre-study, textbook, and video. Study is Zoom. And you have post-study, which is your ebook. Okay? Now, it's only those three, but then you need to understand that post-study and pre-study always go hand in hand in 1 week. So you always do your post-study and your pre-study after the Zoom meeting. And then you take that time, that whole week, up till the next Zoom meeting, which is the next week. Okay? Now, whatever date that is for you is different because for every grade 11, either IPA 1, 2, IPS 1, and IPS 2, it is different. Okay? So that's why I just note down the dates of the whole week. So this is your focus for now. So that means that if you look at last week, the 27th of July until the 30th of July, you already should have done, for your pre-study, you should already have done reading 1 in your textbook for today. And you should have already finished section listening 1 in your ebook for listening and speaking. So if you haven't done that yet, you should do that very fast, because if you don't follow the pattern, it's gonna be too much work for you in the end. The post-study activities are only a few. Like for reading 1, there's only 1 activity. Sometimes it's only 2, 3 questions. It's not that much. Okay, so if you keep it up and do it every week, then you don't have too much to do in the end. Yeah. And then, of course, if you scroll down, you can see exactly when you have to submit everything. So look at your schedule and go from there one by one to know what your focus is for this week, and also to know what you need to be working on. Okay, any questions?
No, so you will send us the video after this meeting, right?
I will. Yes.
Yes.
Also, people, you can always access every Zoom meeting video. Yeah, Zoom meetings are also already posted on YouTube, and I will send you the link of the Zoom meeting as well. So if, for example, you're still confused about the overview of the semester, that one is also already posted. Or you're still confused on the overview of the unit, just go back into the Zoom meeting that is posted in YouTube, Media Tunas, and then you can just rewatch it and you get the whole explanation again. So that's the cool thing. So you can just either rewatch the videos, either Zoom videos or material videos, and of course be very precise in reading your WhatsApp group, because everything is explained also there. Okay? Remember, guys, for your number absent, always use 2 digits. So if you're number 3, write 03 period and then your name. Not 1 digit, always 2. Remember to never ever take a link from another class. If you take a link from another class, your grade will not be registered. You can only use the links that are in your class, okay? Because every class has different links. Remember that, very important. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day. Yeah, and I'll see you next week. Look for me when you need anything. God bless you.